ladies and gentlemen, we are back with another episode of Let's Argue, episode 92. Me and Eddie here. We are able to run it remote again, and that opens it up for more episodes. I
We
don't
feel
know.
good. We feel good.
Yes.
It feels good to be able to have that flexibility on remote. It feels great, because
Mm-hmm.
life gets in the way. Life gets in the way. But you know what doesn't get in the way? Let's argue.
Never. Now. Never.
Never
Never.
that.
Never.
No, man. So, what topics are we running into right now? I feel like we need to touch on a little bit of this NBA action happening here because it's coming to a close.
Yes. Yeah, the Warriors really picked it up this past week. And it's been pretty dope to see that the Warriors are picking it up quite a bit. They took over the sixth seed by like a couple games now, and based on I'm pulling it up right now.
Yeah,
They
it's very
played
close.
Timberwolves. They played Timberwolves tonight. They're the Dallas and what's it called? Golden State are fighting neck and neck for that sixth seed. Which where is Dallas on this
Well,
seed?
Dallas is number 11 right now, so the bit of a losing streak.
Whoa.
Need to
Yeah,
catch a
you
couple
guys
games.
yeah, you guys
Um,
dropped hard. Holy shit.
yeah, they need to. Mavericks need to hop on this winning streak right now because there is only a handful of games left in the season, and right now we are out of the play-in tournament. We are right there with OKC. OKC has a point 0.5 game lead, and Dallas needs to capitalize a lot. But I mean, talk about some of the people that have clinched a playoff spot: Nuggets, Grizzlies,
Mhm.
Bucks, Celtics, and Sixers on the Eastern Conference. You know, Nuggets and
Which by the
Grizzlies
way, the Golden State gave Philly a run for their money the other day.
for sure. Nuggets and Grizzlies already clinched their division. Bucks, Celtics, and Sixers. It's really, I mean, anyone's game to clinch the division, but they clinched a playoff position. I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's a conference, right?
Mm.
But regardless of that point, Sacramento Kings. I have got to talk about them for just a minute. Sacramento
Yeah.
Kings definitely surprised me. I thought that they would not be staying, because the last time we talked about Sacramento Kings, it was a few weeks ago, and the Kings were around the same spot as they were. I believe they were fourth or fifth seed when we were talking about them, and we kind
Mhm.
of both agreed to say like, hey, the Kings are not gonna, they're not gonna be at the top. I would never have guessed that the Kings would be right there with Grizzlies and the Nuggets, which is very surprising to me. And that just shows a true testament of coaching and I mean the players just rallying around one another. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was pretty shocking to see Sacramento stay in it this year. I think this is the first time in like I want to say like 2 decades that Sacramento is even worth talking about.
No, it's been a while, and I mean, now the true testament of the Kings is going to be in the playoffs. Because they are unfamiliar in the playoffs, and I know a lot of teams want the Sacramento Kings just because of the inexperience, but honestly, the Kings just look really, really good.
Yeah, they're 7-3. Yeah,
In
they're
their
seven
last
and three in the
10.
last 10. They're
You
looking
know,
really solid. I would be worried to play them because they're beating teams. They're
I mean, they
beating
just beat the
notable teams.
Suns. Yeah, they just beat the Suns. I believe, just a few days ago, and they beat Utah as well.
Hmm.
I mean, it's been solid for Sacramento, man. I mean, to be a Kings fan right now is it's awesome.
And just looking at this past month, right? Like I'm looking at the month of March at all their scores, and like they're averaging over 120 points a game.
Yeah, they are dominating the court. I mean, the biggest thing is I would say, and this goes into the playoffs, and this is what helped Golden State so much is just shooting, being able to open up and shooting behind beyond the arc, and creating those lanes to get to drive into the paint. That's
Hmm.
one thing that Golden State has always been perfect at, and that's what won them last year. And everyone doubted Golden State last year, and I mean, Golden State proved out, and that's honestly what Sacramento Kings are doing, I believe. And they are just playing good fundamental basketball. Now, just talking about basketball, the NCAA bracket is still going on. Elite Eight is
Mm-hmm.
happening, and there's a
A lot,
lot
a lot of
of
teams that are supposed to be winning are not winning.
yeah. This bracket this year has been really weird, and I mean Texas just fell today to Miami, in the Elite Eight. So all the number one, number two, number three seeds have fallen, and that is insane for Texas to drop to Miami. So um, it's now we're in the Final Four with. I mean, it's just kind of crazy to think about. Kind of crazy.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, not haven't really paid a whole lot. I mean, I see like right now there's a game going on Miami and Texas. Um, Texas is losing 85-81 as we speak. They're
Oh, the
number
game is
2.
over.
The game's over. Oh, it just ended on my screen. Yeah,
Yeah,
Texas just lost that just not even like a minute or two ago.
yeah. Texas fought. They blew a lead with Miami. Not much of a lead, but Miami just ruled the second half. Um, I mean, it's tough. Texas for with an interim coach made it to the Elite Eight, and I believe in like at least 20 years. So, for an interim head coach to bring Texas all the way to the Elite Eight was pretty awesome. It would have been great to go the distance, but Miami, man, they got it. So, uh, the World Baseball Classic, kind of shifting gears here,
Mm.
switch over to Japan. Japan.
Yeah, Japan did pretty solid. I mean, they were doubted pretty heavily, but everyone knew just the players that they had on that team. Like Yu Darvish was notable on Japan. Shohei Otani obviously was on that team. I that game I watched it. The last like 3 innings were highly highly competitive, very entertaining. It was a pitching duel. Offense was off the charts because you have like two all-star lineups just going at it. And they renewed it, by the way. They're bringing it back. And I think 2026 is what they said. The World Baseball Classic will be back. There was a lot of controversial discussions about it after it ended with, players like Altuve got injured, Edwin Diaz is out for the season, and I think there's a couple other notable players that are possibly not going to play this season because they got hurt in the baseball classic. But I mean, it's kind of like the Olympics. Are you going to stop somebody going to the Olympics every time? It only happens every few years,
Right.
and I mean, it's like you're representing the country that you want to represent, and at the end of the day, it's a pretty cool accolade to kind of put on your shelf. And I mean, it gets you recognition. Like if you're, let's say, a player struggling in the MLB, right, to get into the league, and like that's really like it's a huge showcase to ball out in the World Baseball Classic, and it got a few guys noticed. There's a few guys noticed that the MLB picked up on, and they got like same day contracts right after the game.
Right, right. No, it definitely did, and I mean it's awesome to see just everyone represent their country, right? So it just brings the world of baseball, to a bigger scale. You know what I mean?
And
And
I were they using the pitch clock
I believe so. And which since you mentioned that, they actually adjusted the pitch clock to 20 seconds now, I
for
believe.
both on and off, runners on, runners off?
Correct. So now,
I All
if
right,
you
I
remembered,
see.
whenever there was no runners, it was 15 seconds. Now it is 20 seconds across the board, and I mean, I think a lot of people obviously have issues, right, with the pitch
Hmm.
clock. I mean, some people have obviously taken advantage of it. Some people have kind of thought about like why are we doing this right now people are actually understanding like, hey, we need to not prolong, but we need to have some flexibility, right? It can't just be, I mean,
Hmm.
7 seconds to look at the pitcher and the pitcher to receive and everything like that, and to pitch in 15 seconds Seems like a
So
lot,
obviously, I mean, with new rules and stuff like that, right? Like NFL's had their growing pains with their rules, and I mean, baseball's going to have theirs too. Obviously, you're seeing the adjustments being made, and I think it'll work out pretty well for baseball. I am going to bring something up that I think I know where the MLB got the whole time frame for entertainment purposes,
Mm-hmm.
where they came up with that theory. So obviously we all know the TikTok famous Savannah Baseball Club, right?
Yes.
So
Savannah
they call it
Banana.
they call it banana ball because they play by 9 rules. In each inning counts, and they're only like they abide by these 9 rules every game they play. And it's pretty cool concept. And I want where I think the MLB came up with um, the timing of the game is one of their rules is they are on a 2-hour time limit to play 9 innings.
Gotcha.
And like one of the rules is obviously MLB is not going to follow every little rule that they have, but some of their rules make a lot of sense. Like with time baseball games, it's entertainment too. They put on a show during the game, stuff like that. So I mean, and people they're selling out every game. So obviously, people, big leagues are going to take note of what they're doing. Um, Timed games, I it, MLB caught on to that. MLB is also catching on. They're keeping the batter in the box. I mean, they're still able to leave the box, but they're definitely in the batter's box a lot more now
Right.
because of the time constraint. So their thing is in the Banana League is they can't leave the batter's box once they step in. And if they leave the batter's box, it counts as a strike.
Right.
I was like, okay, this is how it speeds up I was like, how are they getting games done in 2 hours? Well, the batter can't leave the box once he steps in. Can still do their whole walk up, and they don't have this dumb clock clocking them telling them, "Hey, you just reached your 25-second mark, you're out," type thing, or whatever. However, the violation works, I can't remember off the top of my head. But another one of their rules was, which I think is personally cool, if a fan catches a foul ball, it counts as an out.
It's interesting.
It's a pretty cool league. I find it very interesting.
Well, it's entertaining, right?
A notable player that joined the team, the Savannah. They have a very tongue twisting name, Savannah Bananas. Josh Reddick, he retired and joined that baseball club.
No, it's a fun. I mean, I know quite a bit of people that actually go, and
I
whenever
really
they
want to
can,
see a game just because I watch the TikToks and stuff all the time, and
yeah,
it's pretty entertaining.
when they came last year, it was very fun. I mean, a lot of people I know personally, they went and they had nothing but raving reviews about it. You know what I mean? So that was really cool to hear that. Just to know that there's some fun baseball
Mm.
activities you can go to and make baseball more fun.
Yeah,
That's something.
it's the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball,
Correct.
is what they say they are. They're like, we understand that we're not, pro levels, nor they're kind of like a professional group. Like you have to be good. They get paid too. They make really
Yeah.
good money doing what they're doing.
No, for
And
sure.
I mean, if I had to decide whether or not, let's say like going pro is just not working out, right? Like you've been in the big leagues, in the minors, right? Just fighting your way to the top for years on end. I would say that's a pretty safe option for guys to, you know, kind of be like, here's plan B. I'm going to go hit up Savannah Bananas and see if it works out for me.
Definitely, definitely. No, yeah, it's super fun. I mean, it just brings a little bit more character. It brings a little bit more personality to baseball instead of just the cut and dry that what baseball is, right? Kind of they do a lot of acrobats, a lot of line dances. They
Yeah,
have
I
fun
don't know
walk-up
if you expected
songs.
to talk about this group, but I thought it was pretty notable to bring up just based off, you know, MLB's going through changes. They're going
No,
through their marketing's changing, stuff like that. And I
I'm
feel
totally
like
okay with
they're because somebody said the Savannah Bananas ruined baseball.
I don't agree. You know, we all need entertainment. People need entertainment daily, and
Mm-hmm.
it brings a little bit, like I said, like I just literally just said, it just brings a little bit more personality, character. It brings more fun walk-up songs. Because that's exactly what we all loved. You know,
This
kind of
is
growing
this
up.
is how I look at it, right? You got WWE, and then you have UFC. You're not gonna get every adult to watch WWE. It's more
Right.
you're getting the attention of kids more. And I feel like with the Savannah Banana team, they're catching a little bit of both, kind of like how WWE is. Everyone understands, yo, this is not very realistic what these guys
Facts.
are doing, but it is entertaining.
No, for sure. You know, another thing I'd like to bring up though, just with baseball in general, you know, opening day is on the horizon.
Mm-hmm.
It is almost here.
About five
And
days.
yep, we are very excited for opening day and just what teams are going to progress and you know
Mm-hmm.
who's going to be the leaders in this year. And everyone is looking at, you know, towards the Mets. Everyone is looking at towards the Yankees. And reason why I chose those two teams personally is because obviously the Mets fell short. The Mets had everything in the basket last year to take it all the way
Mm-hmm.
and got a huge crutch going into the season. Edwin Diaz, potentially possibly the best closer in baseball right now. And the
He's
Mets are
gone.
going, yeah, the Mets are going into this season. I mean, that man down for sure. But
Mm-hmm.
what's the expectations for the Mets this year? You know, with Atlanta crippling their roster, you know, with Freeman leaving, you know, there's a couple different people leaving, a couple people different coming in, you know, and the Braves took over from the Mets. The Yankees per se, you know, every single year they have promise.
Yeah.
Last year they started off like a rocket, and
Mm-hmm.
towards the middle, towards the three quarters of the season, they just started dipping very, very hard. And you know what is next? When is the Yankees going to be that powerhouse that we all know back in the early 2000s, where we always saw them in the World Series? You know, it never failed between football and baseball that the Yankees and the Patriots were always in the conversation of going to the championships, going
Yeah.
to, I mean, it just when is it time? You know, now it's Houston's. You know, now it's Kansas City's.
Mm-hmm.
For it's kind of weird to look at it like that, but you know, opening day is very exciting, and we're gonna see what happens with this upcoming. I mean, this first couple months.
Yeah, honestly, there's a lot of teams that can really turn it around this year too. And baseball's just getting started, and then football. I don't know if you want to touch on some of the things that just happened this past week.
Well, I mean, the biggest one for sure that happened is you know Derek Carr finally getting signed to the Saints, and I
Oh,
don't know if we talked.
I
Sorry.
think that one's been a while thing for a while. I think
Well,
people
I
knew
mean,
about that one.
what I'm kind of we mean by that, and I was kind of segue into it is what is Derek Carr gonna do? You know, what is the Saints gonna do this
Well,
year?
they it's kind of like Saints and Raiders are in the kind of like same boat. It's like the Jimmy G compared to Derek Carr comparison. My thing is though is I mean the Raiders may potentially have had just a guy having experience with success and being in multiple Super Bowls in his career and stuff. I mean it might work out for the Raiders to be honest. Even though the people are saying he's so similar to Derek Carr. I'm like, well, is he though? Because his record is completely opposite of what Derek
Yeah.
Carr. I'm
No,
like,
I'm excited
and
for the
he's got
Saints.
weapons too. So
Yeah, I'm excited for the Saints with Chris Olave. Saints are going to be a team that I'm going to definitely look at this year. You
oh,
know,
100%.
With Zeke leaving, he's narrowing down his teams
He
and
said Eagles, Bengals, and I forget the third one.
Jets.
Jets. Yeah.
Now, Jets are definitely moving the chess pieces. They are playing chess right now.
If
and
they can get Rodgers, Zeke will probably go to the Jets.
they're still trying to figure out and what's going to happen with this Rodgers. What's going to happen, with
Mm.
everybody else. I mean, they are making moves for the draft. Um, it's pretty crazy to see the New York Jets being such a team that's so active in the offseason. Now, if they were, no one really took notice, but this year they're taking notice because I believe the Jets are going to try to win their division. They're going to try to be a competitor this year, and it's very exciting to see a different team kind of rise above the ashes because what if we've always known with the team but fumble, Mark
Mm.
Sanchez, yeah, he had a good season with the Jets. I believe they made the playoffs one year,
They went
but
to
regardless,
AFC Championship that one year, yeah.
there it was. Yeah, so Mark Sanchez took him there, but I mean, at the end of the day, the Jets hasn't really done anything else besides that,
Yeah. I
Same thing
mean,
with
their
the
last
Browns.
notable quarterback was him.
Yeah, same thing with the Browns. Browns, they're making exchanges too. But right now I feel like with the Browns, it's always a step backwards. It's always one step forward and two step backwards. I feel like they could never get ahead. And it's really frustrating. If I was a fan for the Cleveland Browns, I'd be frustrated every single year because it just seems like we take a step forward and we're taking two steps back.
Yeah. Yeah.
He
Um
said, "Yeah, yeah, that's a fact there, bud. I hate to say
All
it, but
right.
that's a
I
yeah."
I want to add maybe some little razzle dazzle to the show now.
Go and sprinkle on
I
it like
you,
Salt
you
Bay.
know, let's talk about a little bit what what movie franchise is better?
Ooh,
The Rocky franchise, or are we rolling with Creed?
this is a let's argue seg right there.
Yeah, I think I want to add a little razzle dazzle. I want to give people something a little different.
Razzle dazzle. Rocky, hands down, gonna have to throw it.
Yeah, Rocky
Iconic,
has so many, and then
iconic.
Creed so far is only three deep, but
And
he may
honestly,
or
I
may
have
not
not
do
seen
another.
Creed 3. Haven't seen Creed 3 yet. Heard it's
It's
good.
dope. I've seen it in theaters, IMAX. I went all out for that one, and it's good. It's
I've
good.
heard it's great.
Jonathan Majors being his like title fight. The story behind it is super cool.
Who won
Um,
the fight? Spoiler alert.
well, Creed, obviously.
Creed.
Um,
Creed.
it's a movie, so.
No, but honestly, man, realistically, I have to pick Rocky just because just the build up for Rocky.
Mhm.
I mean, they made so many movies of it. They made a statue, and I mean, it's iconic in Philly. I knew somebody that worked with me, and he went by the steps and he ran up them, and it was a lot, and that's all he said. It was a lot. If you ever went, it was a lot of steps. It's a lot of
Yeah.
steps.
Hey, I mean, I
And
give it to people. I like both, kind of like equally. Um, Rocky
oh,
kind of I think Rocky set the foundation, so obviously that's probably going to be what everyone chooses. You know what I mean?
no, facts, facts, facts. Um, so I choose Rocky. What about you?
I think I'm gonna roll with Rocky just because he's literally the whole reason. Like Sylvester Stallone is the whole reason why Creed even exists.
Facts. Um, all right. So if we're doing this, let me throw some razzle dazzle your way.
Okay, let's get it.
DC or Marvel?
Nah, man, that one's too easy. I think anyone. Obviously,
Hit me
some
with
I
it. Let's
know.
go. No,
I'm
no.
Marvel.
Hit it.
Marvel's hands down better than DC.
Tell me why. Tell me why.
Well, first off, I mean, there's just the variety is pretty dope. Now, when it comes to, I would say not so much Marvel, DC, right? Who do you, what series do you like better? The Avengers series better, or do you like the Justice League series better?
That's a good question.
The
Honestly,
Zack Snyder cut is pretty hard to beat.
I gotta. So I'm a big DC fan. Big DC fan. Big Marvel fan.
Hmm.
I've always had this argument.
I could go all day about this.
I've always had this argument where DC is hands down stronger than Marvel. Now, movies wise, obviously, you kind of have some drawback with
Yeah.
DC. You know what I mean? That's just, let's be honest here. Green
Hey,
Lantern was probably the worst.
well, let's be real here too. When Disney bought it out, everyone should have known that's $1 billion freaking industry right there.
No, facts,
Obviously
but
that one's gonna kill it, every time.
yeah, I've always said DC heroes could beat Marvel with pretty much one man. Now,
Mm,
Superman. I mean, literally, come on. So
I mean, and the captain, yeah, you could go so long with this. I mean, they've done it before where they did the whole.
Superman beats literally the Avengers by himself. He beat Wonder Woman, and
No, I
yeah,
think the most badass vigilante is definitely Batman.
no, that's definitely. I will say this: Batman versus Iron Man. Oof.
I wish they would do it. It would be a sick movie.
I would have to. I'm gonna have to throw. I mean, Iron Man just has that technology, man,
They
and so
both
does
do.
so does
Yeah.
so does Batman.
Yeah,
Huh?
Batman. I feel like they would just end up killing each other like
Yeah,
at the same
Batman has
time.
more swag though. That's a fact.
Yeah, yeah, Batman. I mean, the Joker, like just the villains that Batman has is hands down fucking way better.
No, for
Way
sure,
better.
for sure.
Way better.
No, but I like this little razzle dazzle, man. It's a good little addition to Let's Argue. I hope everyone likes that.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it a few times. It's been brought up to from people, that have talked about the podcast with me, and I feel like this is a segment. You know, it might be just like most of the time. It's more than likely going to be like, hey, which movie's better, the remake or the current? Like, I feel like you can get a lot of people tapping in for that. Stuff like that. Marvel, DC, we can do that quite a bit, just because DC just dropped the new Shazam as well. I haven't heard terrible things about it.
Yeah, I haven't watched it either. I haven't heard bad things either. I've heard that it's a little bit. I was never really a big fan of Shazam. I mean, I get the hero and everything. I just wasn't really a big fan, but I haven't heard
Yeah,
anything
it's kind
bad.
of yeah. I mean, it's one of those where it's like, okay, that's where the huge when it comes to live action. No offense to DC, but like when Shazam and Aquaman are like your top two live action movies, you got some problems.
Yeah, so obviously Batman's overdone, but I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like I do feel like DC is going to come back very, very strong. I'm very excited for
Yeah,
Swamp
they
Thing.
have super cool. I mean, it could easily be right there equal with, you
You know,
know.
and I've heard this where Marvel is starting to draw back, right? Robert Downey Jr. is no longer part of the Marvel universe.
Well,
Chris
yeah.
Evans is no longer part of the Marvel universe. So now DC is capitalizing. They got James Gunn. So everybody loves James Gunn, and I mean, they're moving forward. They're moving forward, and obviously they scrapped quite a bit of heroes. Very upset with Henry Cavill, but at the end of the day, I feel like
Oh, yeah.
DC is gonna very rise from the ashes, like a phoenix. No pun intended.
Yeah, I
But
think Marvel, if they can get one of the bigger names kind of like to jump in on it, right? Like, hey, we need somebody to direct this series. Like, we
well, they
need
got
to.
Blue Beetle coming out, and that should be exciting.
Oh, I didn't know that. I haven't heard anything about that. Wow.
I think
Um,
it's in the works right now.
I know they have the new Batman in the works. I know Black Adam kind of fell on its face. They didn't know what to do with it, and then they ended up parting ways. I think somebody needs to buy out the DC series, and like people have said, bring back Snyder. And I think if they bring back
Yeah.
Snyder, I think DC will come back, honestly.
No.
But they're struggling with contract issues. I think they're still under contract with whoever they're with right now. I think it's Warner Bros.
No. Yeah. I
And
don't
I
think
think
Warner Bros will
once,
ever get rid of it, but
well,
or sell it.
they're saying they might lose it.
It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting.
I mean,
But
I
re-
really want them to lose it because their movies have sucked.
yeah, regardless, I'm excited for the future. I'm
Yeah.
excited for the future.
What else is there? just a little random one to throw out there. Bobby Wagner's back with the Seahawks. I feel like once he noticed that Geno Smith is, the truth,
Well,
that
I think this is the end for Bobby Wagner.
oh, I think he thinks he has a better chance to make a run for it with Seattle than he does LA.
Yeah, I think there's definitely some aspiration with Bobby Wagner. He wants to go far, but I mean, I'm glad to see him back. In that lime green, that
Hmm.
kind of sick unis, and I mean they're going at it. So uh,
So based on how long they signed Geno, right? It was a 3-year contract. You think Pete Carroll's gonna hang it up once Geno's done? 'Cause, I mean,
no,
he wrote it. He wrote it out with Geno for years.
I feel like Pete Carroll he's gonna have a couple more years in him, and if he does step away, I feel like he's gonna Sean Payton, even though I believe he's 76, maybe
Yeah,
77,
he's up
but
there, man. I mean,
I
even Andy Reid said he's thinking about hanging it up soon.
well Andy Reid, I mean just to have that run, why would you stop right now, and
Well,
all
I
good
think
things come.
Andy Reid's not going to hang it up until Patrick Mahomes is no longer a thing.
I wouldn't go that far. I feel like Andy Reid, there's always going to be the all good things come to an end, and it
Yeah,
comes to the point where, when is Andy Reid going to kind of let go and just say, you know what, hey, I'm going to be like a Bruce Arians. I'm going to be a counsel, on with the team. I'll be in
like
the
I,
draft room.
I still have a say on who's doing what
Yeah,
type
I
deal.
still
Yeah.
have kind of a job of authority, and that's what Bruce Arians did. He stepped back, he went back to the sideline, and I mean, he's still very much involved in the process
Mhm.
and the games. But, at what point, like, do you step away? Sean Payton did, and he did it with class, and he decided, you know what, it's time to pick it back up. Let me come back in. Let me revitalize the Broncos, and he's doing it. He's doing it as we speak. He's picking up great picks for Russell Wilson, and now is the true testament for the Denver Broncos to how far they're going to go this year.
I
You
think,
know,
people didn't give credit to the coach when, Russell Wilson left, right? But like at the end of the day, it can affect a player when the player is dealing with a coach that doesn't know what to do. And I feel like that's what Russell Wilson kind of ran into the last season is he had a head coach that sucked
well, not
and
only that, but
screwed him over.
you're really talking about Derek Carr too. Derek Carr had like 5 different offensive coordinators, couple different coaches. Had one coach had a scandalous thing,
Yeah,
and
Derek Carr had a very similar career life as Alex Smith. Just jumping through coach after coach after coach after coach after coach. Finally goes to a new team, starts killing it.
yeah,
And I
it's
have
def-
there's a pretty solid chance of that happening for Derek
yeah.
Carr.
No, it's definitely interesting to see. So, only time will tell this year. Only time will tell with this season. And I don't know about you, man. I mean, but this is the time of year that I'm very, very excited because playoff basketball is just literally
Around the
a
corner.
like 14 days away, 10 days away. Um, opening day baseball is happening. We got the draft coming up. I mean, there's just so many great things happening this time of year, and I'm just super excited, man.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the Marvel segment. But whatever you're down to talk about, I am so ready for it right now because we're only like 30 minutes in.
I mean, honestly, we this has been a great episode, and I really hope the listeners that are listening right now, I hope you really do enjoy this because like this is kind of a cool little laid back episode. It's kind of the in between, right? Where playoff baseball is happening now, the World Baseball Classic is done. Football is kind of still like doing a little roller coaster, and
Yeah,
I mean,
like but the two big ones, we're still waiting on Lamar Jackson. He's clearly leaving the Ravens.
Lamar Jackson and Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, those
I
two
mean,
are going to be on new teams, and then that's going to change
that's
two
going to change the
teams in the NFL.
dynamic in the league
Yeah,
when
because
that
then a bunch of
happens.
free agents, like people like OBJ and like some big name veterans are going to start moving.
Yeah, so honestly, man, let's top it off with this. Let's
I
seal. Let's
I
put
like
the
it.
lid on the jar after this sego. I'm
All
hitting you
right.
with this: PS5 or Xbox.
PS5. I mean, I got one right now. I've been a PlayStation guy my
I
whole
got
life.
one right now, dude. that was instant. I got one right now, dude. We're pulling. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
Um,
like
before you go any further,
PS5 is elite, man.
so here's my thing. Now, I love Xbox. I have so many great games that I've played on Xbox. I just recently became an owner of the PlayStation 5, and this may seem a little biased. Yes, you may say that, but Xbox, all my great memories. If I could blink, like you ever seen that movie Jumper? If I could just blink
Hmm.
back in time to to I mean back then Halo 3. Man, I would do it
Yeah,
in a
I will give Xbox this. The last time Xbox just outright owned PlayStation, like just had way better games, like consistently, was when the 360 was around.
Yeah, facts.
Like it just shit. That was when Halo was going nuts. That was an era of Xbox that just that's what started it. Was who's better, and then PlayStation came around and just started dropping bombshells of games.
Facts.
And that's when and then most recently with the PS5, they're just, God of War, MLB The Show became a thing, and there's
I
just
feel,
so
I,
many.
I feel the
And then
hype in your voice
Spider-Man,
right now
when
that
when
you're
they
saying
brought around
PlayStation.
Spider-Man, oh yeah, PlayStation just took it over. There was a small period where Xbox had PlayStation by the nuts, and then PlayStation just started dropping PlayStation exclusives, and then that's when PlayStation took over. That's when Sony really got a huge hold of it. You there? Yo. Uh-oh.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
Little technical difficulties there. Sorry. I don't
What
know what
happened?
just happened.
All right, there was a small, small little awkward silence, but yeah, I just kind
No,
of
man.
opened.
I do agree with everything that you said, though. Just to seal the lid. I mean, PlayStation for sure. Kind of want to play it right now, man.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna hop on at some point tonight, and then
No, man. I think this episode was great, and I hope everyone enjoyed it.
oh, 100%. Thank you guys for listening. Obviously, you'll be able to watch me and
Yeah.
Eddie's voice. You'll be seeing my face. And you'll hear Eddie. He's on the call with me. But yeah, guys, we're back to being set up remote if need be. In days like this, it's like it's kind of convenient. Not gonna lie, this is what we used to do when we
Yeah.
first started it, and then now I got all the equipment set back up, and it makes things easier when we're not driving back and forth all the time to somebody's house. And
Facts.
I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget, like, comment, subscribe. If you liked the new topics that we just went over, PlayStation, Marvel, DC, talked a little bit about not just MLB today. We kind of touched on NCAA basketball. We touched on the Savannah Banana baseball team and their tournaments that they play in, and and I hope you guys enjoyed us changing it up a little bit. And if you want to join, and we don't necessarily have to talk sports, like we just kind of went on a little spin-off right here, and it was fun. We stuck true to the title. Let's argue, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Hit the comment section on what you think is better, PlayStation or Xbox, and which franchise is better, Marvel or DC. Other than that, see you
One
guys
love.
next time. One love.
Later.
Later.